Hey y'all, Kelly Whitney here with another thing older Black women should tell younger Black women, but don't be selfish. Be completely and utterly selfish. I don't think that being selfish is a bad thing. I think the word selfish has gotten a completely bad rap. I want to read a definition to you. One of the definitions for being selfish is concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pleasure. So let's unpack that. When you are concerned chiefly with your own profit and pleasure, that means you're minding your own business. Profit is your money, so that's your career, how you conduct your business, personal and professional, and then your pleasure is what you do to have fun. Those could be your relationships, your hobbies, etc. So being focused on all of those things, that encompasses a life well lived. Yet someone has decided, or society at large has decided, that being selfish is a horrible thing. The opposite of selfish, to my mind, is people pleasing. People pleasing means you are primarily concerned with other people's profit and pleasure, that you're always available to everybody, that your chief concern is other people's business. Just saying that makes it obvious to me why that's a bad thing. Yet too often, way too often, Black women get sucked into that kind of people-pleasing behavior, only we don't really call it people-pleasing. We call it being there for you. I'm there for you. I got you. That's a trap. Don't fall for that shit. When you're a people-pleaser, everybody calls you to dump their problems on you. They want your help constantly. They forget to ask how you're doing. They call you up, immediately launch into their problems. Girl, this happened. You're not gonna believe it. Da 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 da. But you know what I learned from having good friends? You're supposed to ask before you do that. So when I call up my friends, I say, hey girl, you got a minute? That's opening number one. Then the next one is, I wanna tell you something negative that happened. Can you deal? Sure. Then I'd say whatever I gotta say and we work it out. But there's a limit to that. If you find yourself too often on the opposite end of that scenario that I just described, where people just call you up and dump all their shit on you, then you're probably a people pleaser and it would benefit you to be more selfish. Now, there's a couple of things that you're gonna have to master if you wanna be selfish. Number one, you gotta learn how to say no. No is a complete sentence, girls. You don't need to offer any explanation. You simply need to say no. If you wanna add a little flavor and color, by all means. But if somebody said, girl, I really need you to watch Pookie because I gotta go on this date with this dude and woo-wop-de-bim, no. And this brings us to the second thing that you have to master in order to be truly selfish. After you say no, you have to be okay being uncomfortable. Because after you say no, that's that whole complete sentence, that one word, that silence is gonna stretch. That other party might laugh. What you mean no? And then you gotta come back and say, I mean no, I can't watch Pookie while you go on that date because I'm busy. Well, what you gotta do? Mind my business? And I guess you gotta find another babysitter. Now, that might seem confrontational, but let's unpack it a little bit. Now, why is she asking you what you gotta do instead of watching her baby? That's your baby. What you mean what I gotta do? What do you have to do besides find a babysitter? That's selfish of the other person to ask you why you're not available to tend to their needs. We're all adults here. Everybody's got their stuff that they need to deal with, and you don't need to explain to anybody why you prefer to handle your own stuff versus theirs. People love to make their problems your problems. They love to make their emergency your emergency. Be selfish. Guard your image, your time, your energy, guard your wallet. I mean, listen, folk will just importune you in some of the most inconvenient ways, and when you have the audacity to tell them no, they get an attitude. That is selfish, but the negative kind of selfish that you should avoid. The selfish that I'm encouraging you to adopt is just handling yourself first, putting on your mask first. I need you to focus on all your own business and stop trying to be Captain Save-A-Ho all the time, because everybody's always gonna have static. People are always gonna have problems. And if you make yourself available, they're always going to look to you to solve them. Learn how to say no. No is a complete sentence. Once you master that no, you gotta be okay with the uncomfortableness that's going to follow that no, because people aren't going to want to accept it, especially if they have a habit of coming to you and you have always been available. That's a change. Now, in an organizational setting, they call that a change management issue, meaning the other party is going to have some difficulty adjusting to the new world order. You see what I'm saying? Be aware that you may have some personal change management issues when you're adapting the other parties in your life to you no longer being completely available to them, understand that there's going to be some static, and that's okay, because selfish is not a bad thing. Selfish is only bad to somebody who's trying to take advantage of you. Selfish is only problematic and evil and horrible when somebody needs something from you and they don't want to take no for an answer. Now, from my perspective, being selfish is actually a wonderful thing. Being selfish means that you're often more disciplined. You operate from a high set of standards. You're focused. You operate with intention. And people who are selfish often have a very strong desire and commitment to self-improvement because they're focused on themselves. Now, the good thing about all that is you end up in a good spot. You get yourself together and other people see you and they say, I can do it too. Very good. You most certainly can. Another thing that's wonderful about being selfish is you're much less likely to engage in hoship. You don't have time for nonsense. When people come to you with this or that and you don't want to engage, you don't. It's that simple. Selfishness will preserve your energy and prevent you from engaging in projects, places, people, and things that you have no interest in. And I think that older Black women don't tell younger Black women to avoid people pleasing and to be more selfish because they want you to have balance. They don't want you to just be a mean, self-centered type person who doesn't care about anybody else or shows no consideration for others. But I think that they do us a disservice, or we do you a disservice when we don't talk about the upside to being selfish, which is the focus and the time and the presence of mind that you get and can therefore use to make a good life for yourself. Because a life well lived takes a lot of time and energy. It takes a lot of focus. You have to be able to say no. You have to be disciplined. Being selfish can help you do all of that. So be selfish, girls. There's nothing wrong with it. It can help you live well. That's another thing that older Black women should tell younger Black women, but don't. And I hope y'all come back for the next video.